So caregiving, who here is a caregiver and feels like sharing that? Nobody? Okay, so this is all new to some of you. You what, I'm sorry? Before, yes. So 1 in 4 families in America are providing care to a loved one, and many with no outside assistance, so no agency helping to provide that care. And what the government doesn't want you to know is that we rely on you providing that unpaid, uncompensated care, because the system can't work without that. So what we have done is we get some Title III funding from the federal government, and we use that to provide caregiver support services. Now, I brought a lot of different guides and information up here. One of the things that we do is we do community education series for caregivers. We have a caregiver support group, and that's kind of helping to provide support for those unpaid caregivers that are kind of feeling burnt out. We also have a respite guide. We have a support group guide, a respite guide, because even if you're not getting ongoing in-home care from an agency, you might still be eligible for respite. So say you're caring for a loved one who has Alzheimer's or dementia and you want to go on vacation. There are places that can provide that respite. Franklin County Office on Aging has a caregiver grant. I believe they still have funds for that right now, but I'm not positive. But even without being a client of Senior Options, you can call and access caregiver supports through them. You can call us and ask for caregiver support. And it's fine if you don't know even what you're asking for. You can come with the problem and we will help figure out how to meet that need for you. So accessing care, even if it's just informal support, can be really difficult financially and emotionally for families, because nobody really wants to say, I need help with this. I cannot even count the number of times I get calls from people saying, I've never asked for help before, but I don't know what to do. That's the most common call that I get across whatever it is they're actually calling for help for. If it's help with utilities, if it's help with rent, if it's help with transportation, I've never asked for this before, but I need it now. And one of the things, who here has heard of Medicaid estate recovery? Nobody? Okay, so that's kind of a big thing. And that really the best solution to dealing with Medicaid and dealing with caregiver issues right now is to plan and discuss this now with your loved ones before you need it, so that you have a plan in place. It's the same way that you would say, well, I want to plan my funeral now. I want to pay for it now. I want to let my loved ones know everything that I need so that they're not trying to figure out what I would want in that time. Caregiving is the same way. Planning for long-term care is the same way. Discussing how you're going to deal with your parents not being able to drive anymore. I've already started those discussions. My parents are both in their 70s. They're still able to drive, everything's fine, but they already know how that discussion is going to go. We've already talked about it. It was not fun, but it's necessary sometimes, right? Because the last thing you want is an accident or something to happen and not having had that discussion. So really the best time to talk about these things is now, before you need it. So before I get into Medicaid estate recovery, so COAAA is, we've been around for, 40 years, a long time, longer than I've been around. We started doing passport Medicaid waivers in the 80s, I think. I'm not super up to date on my history there. But a passport waiver is if someone would otherwise have to go into a nursing home to get the level of care that they require, passport Medicaid waiver can assess you and can provide that care in the home. And now this is good for many reasons. So people are happier in their home, right? Who wants to leave their home? It's cheaper. It's much cheaper to provide that care in the home. And everybody's happier, it's cheaper, it's just a better system. The Medicaid waivers, they have a higher income limit. So community Medicaid, a lot of times your income has to be around $700 or $800 a month. That's pretty difficult. That's community Medicaid. A Medicaid waiver, the income limit is around $2,000 a month. Anything above that can go into something called a Miller Trust, which can be used to pay for your medical bills. So let's say your income every month is $2,300. You can set it up that $300 of that goes into a Miller Trust, and they have lawyers that can help you set this up, and then that can be used to pay for your medical bills. The asset limit for the Medicaid waivers is $3,000. So if you have a pension, if you have life insurance, if you own property that you are not living in, I think you're allowed to own one car. So if you own, let's say you have a second home, that's going to count against your asset limit. So you would have to sell that or just not qualify for Medicaid, if that's the case. If you own your home and you live in it, that does not count against the asset limit. But after you pass and after any surviving spouse passes, Medicaid estate recovery means the state will come back and go after the home to help pay for what they put out while you were on Medicaid. Now this is important because Medicaid is the only insurance company that pays for long-term care. So if you have to go into a nursing facility, if you have to get care in the home and you can't independently pay for it, this is something that's a surprise to a lot of people, and it's something that I had never even heard of before I started working here. So I have been working with my parents. It's been a slow and steady process to get them to put the home in a trust, to do things to protect the home so that Medicaid won't be able to take it. There is a 5-year look back. So if you, let's say, okay, well, I'm going to sell it to my daughter or my son, and then I can use that money to pay for private home care, and then the house is theirs and it's protected. 5 years after that is when you're going to be eligible for Medicaid. So the funds that you get from the sale of the home have to be enough to privately pay. So that's something that I think a lot of people know or need to know, because a lot of people I've seen go without the care that they need because the family members are making decisions and they don't want to give up the pension. They don't want to give up the house. And sometimes that's the family house. Mom wouldn't want us to do this, and that's fine. Other times it's no, I want that money. And that's really sad to me, because if they can't make their own decisions for themselves, if they can't do this, then people are making decisions that aren't in their best interests. And really, a lawyer, an elder law attorney is going to give you better advice on how to protect those assets, how to protect any inheritance that you want to leave to your children or grandchildren. So Franklin County Senior Options, and there's a flyer for this as well, of course. That is levy-based services. So when you vote for the senior levy, you're voting for Franklin County Senior Options to be able to provide care. Now senior options, the age limit is 60 and over, just the same as it is with passport. There is a sliding fee scale, so depending on income, you might pay 0% of the cost of the services, you might pay 100% of the cost of the services. Even if you're paying 100%, I oftentimes will still refer people to senior options, because then you're getting someone in your home to do light housekeeping, to do med management, things like that is licensed, that is registered with the state. There's background checks happening. There's a little bit more accountability than finding somebody on Facebook or Nextdoor that can come in and clean your home. They can do transportation. They can do a lot of different things, and there's no level of care need. So anybody who's over 60 can call them and see what services they're eligible for. Is this getting louder, or is it just me?
It's a little louder.
It's getting louder. Okay.
What?
Back there.
Okay, is that better? Is that not quite so loud? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay, so there's also...
There
Okay. Okay. So there's also the assisted living waiver. So assisted living waiver can pay for you to be in an assisted living facility if you can't private pay for it. How many people could easily private pay for assisted living facility? Who knows how much that runs? Oh my gosh, it's crazy. The good news is assisted living waiver is there, it's available for people. The bad news is a lot of assisted living facilities are not taking people on the assisted living waiver, and that's for a couple reasons. The state has not raised the reimbursement rates for about 20 years, so they can't afford to take a lot of assisted living. Okay, I'm just gonna yell. Is that okay? Okay. So, try better now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Should I turn it back on?
Yeah, you can turn it back on. I don't know why.
Okay, is that better? Okay.
Yeah.
So the state can't afford, or the facilities can't afford to have more than a handful of people on the assisted living waiver at any given time. They're not being reimbursed enough. They're being reimbursed at the rates for 20 years ago, and it's just not enough. We can get into discussions about whether they have a duty to kind of do that, which I believe they do, instead of making tremendous profits. But they didn't ask me. What they're also doing is a lot of times they're requiring someone to private pay for a year before they will accept them for the assisted living waiver. Now, I don't know a lot of people that can just suddenly pay, $2,000 to $3,000 a month for assisted living facility, and that's what it's costing for a lot of people. So for a lot of people that are lower income that don't have any assets saved up, assisted living waiver is very, very hard to get. It is possible, but it's hard to get. Another thing, so Medicaid is the only insurance company that is going to pay for nursing facility care. So Medicare will pay for up to 100 days. So if you have a surgery, if you have a knee replacement, shoulder replacement, and you want to be discharged into a nursing facility afterwards, which I highly recommend because you're going to get a much higher level of care than you can get in your home. It's going to cover that. You don't have to worry about that if you're on Medicare. If you're going to be in there for longer than 100 days, so say you leave here, you're in a car accident, and you can't get the care that you need at home, even with a passport waiver, you're going to have to be going on Medicaid. So that's why it's important to plan now, to plan to be on Medicaid. If you're not, that's fine, no harm, no foul, but plan that you're going to need it at some point. You can't, unless you can independently pay for nursing facility care, which can be, I believe, around $100,000 a year. Unless you can pay for that, you're going to be on Medicaid at some point if you go into a nursing facility.
One question.
Yes.
Is that 100 days a cumulative total through your whole life, or is it just for one incident?
I want to say it's annually, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
So my job at COAAA, I don't really deal with a lot of Medicare people. Or I don't help them handle their Medicare problems. So I talk to a lot of Medicare people, but I don't do Medicare. So what I do is I work in information and assistance. So I get people calling from the community saying, I don't know what I need, but I need help. Or my utilities are about to get cut off. Or I need transportation. Or my favorite, my upstairs neighbor's patio has a bird feeder and the bird seed is falling on my patio. A real call by I'm not even kidding. She wanted to sue and she wanted my support, and I said, I think you just need to deal with it, and she didn't like that. Really, any kind of call that the receptionist is like, this is too much for me, or they know exactly it's my wheelhouse and they send it to me. So I get all kinds of calls. Sometimes it's pretty fun. Sometimes you really can help people, and that's great. But I don't have a caseload. I don't case manage people. I don't go into homes. I sit in an office. I do a lot of Excel, which is my thing, so I'm pretty happy with that. We do have 2 Medicare specialists, so I don't even try and answer a lot of the Medicare questions. What Albert Einstein said, if he knows where he can look it up, he doesn't memorize it. And I'm the same way. If I know someone knows it better than me, I don't even need to learn it. I just direct them to them. And when it comes to Medicare, we do have Medicare for Beginners workshop. The next one is October 16th. We have one November 20th, and then December 4th. We have 2 people that are Medicare specialists. One is on vacation right now. But if you call and ask to speak to a Medicare specialist, they will direct you to whoever's available. They can consult over the phone. They can make appointments, and you come in. They can help you look up when it's time to choose a Medicare plan, or if you're not happy with your current plan. They can meet with you. They can help you find a plan that covers your doctors, that covers your prescriptions, and they can just advise you in all kinds of ways that I can. They can also talk about Medicare supplement plans or Medicare Advantage, things like that, which I highly recommend because regular Medicare does not cover hearing aids and it does not cover dental. I'm not sure if it covers vision. I want to say no, but I'm not positive. All things that we need at all times of our lives, and a lot of people don't realize. I get a lot of calls from people wanting dentures. I can direct them to free dental care. Hopefully they can wait a month before the next clinic, but nobody's doing dentures. You have to have dental care for dentures. Nobody's going to pay for dentures. So a lot of the materials that I brought are really take it if you need it. Nobody in here is going to need everything I brought. So this is a copy of the presentation that some of the other people in my agency do on caregiving. So this is really helpful, but it's not really my style. I made some notes, and I'm more of a, stream of consciousness person. This is the Older Adults Resource Guide. I'm going to be leaving all the copies here. This is it's like a little phone book for anything you might need. There's an index in the back, financial counseling, I believe there's some stuff about elder law attorneys, wills, probate, things like that. It's all in there. So this is our private home care guide. So let's say you need some care in the home, you don't really qualify for passport yet, and you don't really want to pay 100% for senior options. This is how to find private home care, what questions to ask. I believe there's some numbers in here. If you call and ask me, you know, hey, I want to look for a place to do, you know, in-home care, in-home nursing, I can email you the list that Passport works from, so people that we're contracted with. So even if you don't hire them through us, if you're not eligible, I can still email you the list. It's going to be expensive, but you know, some people can afford that and some people are okay with that. This is the caregiver toolbox. So this is how to manage all of those feelings, all of those needs that come up when providing care to somebody. We also do some caregiver toolbox trainings. That's not really something I'm involved with, but the people that we have that do that are amazing. They've been caregivers in their life. They do the groups regularly. They talk to people all the time. It's a great resource. This again is Senior Options. I highly recommend them. They do great care. The support group guide, the transportation guide, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a lot. If you're in Franklin County, there's more than the outlying counties. We serve an 8-county region, so all of the counties that touch Franklin County and Fayette, I believe. So transportation is a problem in general. There's just not enough resources. There's not a lot of inter-county transportation, so people that need to go to Franklin County for their specialist, which you know is a lot of people if you're living in the outlying counties, there's not a whole lot. There's some, but not a lot. Anybody who is getting treatment for cancer, American Cancer Society provides transportation. It's a volunteer organization that they have, and if they can't get a volunteer, they will order you an Uber or a Lyft. So that's a great resource. Here's the respite guide. Again, if you're providing care, you want to go on vacation, you need a break, the respite guide is great for that. And I have my cards here as well. If anybody doesn't feel comfortable raising their hand and asking a question, you can email me.
Transportation also income related?
Yes, it can be. Yes. So, and some of it's income related and some of it has other qualifications. So we provide transportation through the Medicaid waivers that we administer, but nobody can just call us and say, well, I need a ride on this date to this date. We don't provide transportation in that way. Very few people do. A lot of places you have to call, you have to get registered with them. Has anybody heard of COAAA Mainstream? Yeah. So they're great. You do have to have some kind of a mobility issue preventing you from riding a bus, and I believe the pickup location has to be within a certain distance from a bus stop, but they will provide door-to-door service. So if you can get to the door of your home, they can help get you on the shuttle, they can help get you off the shuttle. They can't help you get out of your chair, they can't help transfer you, but if you can get to the door, they will help you on and off. Not a lot of places will provide wheelchair transport. There is a taxi service, I believe it's Yellow Cab that will do it, but then you are self-paying for that.
It's not very reliable.
And that's the state of a lot of transportation. It's not the most reliable. It's not always going to get you there right on time. You know, if they're not getting you there late, they're getting you 45 minutes early. You'll get there, but you're going to wait for a while. So we refer a lot of people to COAAA Mainstream. We also refer a lot of people to Franklin County Senior Options for transportation. That can be the only service you get from Senior Options is transportation. Now it is a limited amount, and you have to track that yourself. You have to track how many miles each trip takes, because if you go over, they will boot you off. They will boot you not out of the program, they will boot you off transportation. When you call, if you're calling Senior Options and you only want transportation, don't mention transportation, because what they'll say is we don't provide it. What they mean is we don't provide that to people that aren't clients. So just call and say, I'd like to become a client. It'll be someone from our agency who goes out and does the assessment. When someone is there in front of you, assessing you to see what your needs are, then you can say, I need transportation. And that can be the only service you get. You don't have to get other services. But again, I want to say it's like 60 miles a month that you get, so you're going to want to ask your driver how many miles was this every time you get out, and then track that yourself. So this guide is great. These are all the different services that we provide. It's gigantic, it's massive. So we do Passport, Ohio Home Care Waiver, Assisted Living Waiver, Micro Ohio. We do Specialized Recovery Services, SRS, which is kind of a backdoor into Medicaid if you are over income for community Medicaid, but you don't meet the level of care for waiver Medicaid. So that is for people who have severe and persistent mental illness, certain diagnosed chronic conditions, or those on the solid organ or soft tissue transplant waiting list. So if you have, let's say you have a cancer diagnosis, you can get on SRS, and that's going to qualify you for Medicaid even if you are above the community Medicaid income limit. So this is something that is really great. So if you guys are active in any organizations or you want a speaker on some of these topics to come to your organization and talk about different things, these are all the different topics that you can have somebody come and present on. So this would be with Speakers Bureau. Sometimes you'll see our tables at different events, the fair, we have people staff at tables, and all of that is through Speakers Bureau. Something really fun that's coming up at the end of October is the Senior Living Festival. Has anybody been to this before? It's so fun. So it's at the casino, which I have some, thoughts about, but they didn't ask me again. But it is really fun. It's back in this area. It's away from the casino floor. You do have to walk through it to get there, though, unfortunately. Or fortunately, maybe that's your thing. We have entertainment going on. You get a coupon for the buffet. The line is extensive. I've never eaten there. But it's a lot of fun. We have all kinds of different vendors, all kinds of different presentations, all kinds of different information. So if you just want to kind of go and see like what all is out there, what all can I access, and you want to have a fun time, then I would encourage you to go there. It's on the 26th, no, the 25th. It's from 10 to 2. The line starts at 9:30, which is typical of the population that we work with. They got to get there early. And then this is, we also do trainings, the Healthy You trainings. We do Healthy You, we do Steady You, we do Matter of Balance. So those are trainings that you can go to for Matter of Balance if you are at a falls risk or you're at risk of serious injury if you fall. So one thing that they have found is that fall risk is not correlated to age. And I know this because I've fallen twice in the past 5 years because I'm klutzy and I don't see water all the time on the floor. But what happened when I fell? I got right back up. I was fine. I had a bruise. I was sore, but I was fine. Somebody who is older, who has osteoporosis, is going to have a different time. So the Matter of Balance classes, you can go learn how to recognize a fall risk, learn how to minimize injury if you fall. It's an 8-week class. I believe it's free. I believe all of these are free. There's also chronic disease self-management classes. So they have one on diabetes. They have one on chronic pain. They have just a general chronic disease self-management class. I believe all of that information is on our website. If you want to send me an email, I can connect you to the woman who does the trainings if you're interested in one of those. This handy sheet is all of the different guides that we do. We have a lot. I haven't even brought a copy of every single guide that we have. So we have a housing and home repair guide. So if you're looking for subsidized senior housing or someone that you know is looking for subsidized senior housing, we have a list of different subsidized housing complexes in Columbus. The wait list is extensive for those. I know of 2 that have openings right now, and they're not any place that I particularly want to live. A lot of people get in there and then stay on the wait list for the other ones, and then transfer out when they get someplace else. There are some home repair programs. So if you live in the city of Columbus and you're under a certain income limit, because I believe there is income eligibility, you can call the city intake line and see what programs you're eligible for. There is a citywide roof repair program. I believe there's an extensive wait list on that. There is a minor home repair program. There is the chores program, which can help you up to, I think, $1,000. So say you need something replaced or something repaired, you can call them and see. The Home Safe and Sound program, I believe the income limit, or not the income limit, the cost limit is $20,000. So even if you need extensive repairs, there might be a program that can help you. If you are inside Franklin County but outside of Columbus, there are other programs that can help. Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, MORPC, we refer a lot of people to them. They can do some home repairs. Let's see. So the long-term care and hospice guide, I believe there's also a listing in there for adult day centers. If you're caring for a loved one with dementia, you kind of need them to go somewhere while you work, or you just need a break, you can look at adult day centers. There's the private home care guide. There's the utilities guide, so if you need help with your utilities, you can look in there. Transportation guide, prescription guide, transition of moving guide, so if anybody's looking to downsize, there are places that can help you. There are low-cost moving companies. Support group guide, and then the books, videos, and websites for caregivers guide. So there's everything. Like I said, even if you don't know what you want to get out of a solution, call us if you have a problem, because we can direct you to it. Now, there might not be resources to solve the problem that you have, but I feel like that's my job, is to tell you guys there's not a resource for that. A lot of people don't want to be the one to give the bad news that you just got to find something or you're going to have to private pay for this. But that I'm doing a disservice if if I'm not honest with people about what's actually available, I think. Yeah, so these are some of the other guys that we have too that I already mentioned. So housing. Okay. Housing for low-income seniors is rough. It's rough. In Franklin County and all of the counties that we serve, I imagine across the nation, it is rough. There are more people that need it than is available. It's often not in great areas. It's often apartments that are not in great condition. So the Section 8, people heard of Section 8?
Mhm.
Yeah. If you don't have a Section 8 voucher, I'm going to say you probably never will. The wait list right now is closed. They closed it when they had, I believe it was 3 to 5 year wait list on there. And the way that they're doing it now, so it used to be a list. And once you got to number 1, you were the next one to get a housing voucher. Now it's a lottery. So you could be number 1 and you can never get it because they will just pick 10 names off there randomly, get them connected with a voucher, and move on to another 10. Again, I have feelings about that, but they never asked me for any of this stuff. They should have asked me. So that doesn't mean that you can't then get subsidized housing because there are subsidized units. So apartment complexes that will take 30% of your income in rent. So if I have, let's say $1,000 income every month, I would pay $300 for rent for an apartment. That's what they've determined is the amount of rent you could pay, 30% of your income without being rent burdened. Now, I meet people every day who pay 85% of their income in rent and do it every month, and I don't know how they do it. I don't think I can do that. But they don't have another choice. I mean, what's their other choice? Get evicted and never get an apartment? If you have an eviction on your record, I mean, after 7 years, they're supposed to not consider it, but they do. The apartment complexes can be really picky in who they pick because they can afford to. There's, tens of people applying for every single apartment and they can pick the best one. They'll ask for 3 times income and rent, or 3 times rent and income. Some places will ask for 5 times rent and income if they find out that someone is low income. And they do that to screen people out. And I've called asking someone, well, I have a voucher and I want to get this apartment. Well, you have to have 5 times rent, 5 times rent and income. Okay, well, I don't have that. Then I call up and pretend that I don't have a voucher. Oh, 3 times. And I've reported people, nothing happens. Because it happens all over the place. They don't want the voucher people because of stereotypes. I know a lot of people on vouchers and they're perfect tenants. They have no problems. They want to keep that voucher. What happens if they lose it? So you're making $700 a month? I mean, that's lower than market rate for a lot of apartments. Now, for the outlying counties, there's just less resources in general because there's less subsidized apartment complexes. You might be able to get a voucher in some of those counties. What some people have been doing is going to the outside counties, living there for a while, getting a voucher, and then transferring it to Franklin County. That's a multi-year process, but I have seen it happen. One thing I want to mention is, so let's say your parents live in Florida. And this is all great information that I'm giving you, but they live in Florida. What's there? So there is an area agency on aging in every single county, or that serves every single county in America. What I will do is someone calls and say, well, my parents live in Colorado, what county? Do a Google search, area agency on aging, I can't think of a county in Colorado, but that county, and then it pops up. It might not be in that county, but it will serve that county. So a lot of them serve a multi-county region. And then you can talk to them and see what services are available in that county. It's likely gonna be pretty similar. The more, the county-based services like Franklin County Senior Options, those are really dependent on the specific county. So Senior Options, Franklin County is a really rich county. They have really robust services. They have a lot of different things. Delaware County, very rich county. They have a lot of stuff. Source Point is up there. They have all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's like a spa experience when you go to Source Point. It's crazy. Fayette County has not passed a senior levy ever. Ever. They won't even put it on the ballot. I'm not sure why. I'm not privy to those conversations. They do have county senior services, but they're not nearly as robust as Franklin or Delaware. Now, to be fair, part of that is it's a rural county. There's fewer people. But in Fairfield County, there's two different senior centers. So there's the Fairfield County Meals on Wheels, which handles county senior services out there, and there's also Olivedale. So there's two different places to access services because they have a levy to fund these services. So if you happen to live in Fayette County, I'm not sure why you drive all the way in here, but you might want to talk to your county commissioners and see, what you can do to help support a senior levy out in Fayette County. Any questions? Yes.
You mentioned that those services are available everywhere. Is there a standard that every county meets? My sister lives in Cuyahoga County and she could really use the services.
So when it comes to county services, that's really determined by each county. So Source Point up in Delaware is the county services, and I believe their age limit is 55. In Franklin County, it's 60. How old is your sister?
72.
Yes, she's gonna qualify. That's well into whatever any county would consider senior. So what I would do is I would encourage her to contact this. There we go. Okay, so for Cuyahoga County, that is the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging, PSA 10. So I would call them, or I would give her the number. So some places will let you refer someone themselves. Some places want the person to call. Now, if someone has dementia, obviously you can call and refer to Passport for them. Senior Options gets real ticklish when someone other than the person calls to do a referral. They want to talk to the person. Now that's great, but if someone is not capable of advocating for themselves, it can get difficult. I have them refuse to talk to somebody when I do a three-way call. Say, okay, well, someone called me saying, I kind of got pushed aside, they wouldn't do an assessment for me. Okay, well, let's call together, because I am a strong advocate. So we called and they said, well, you need to get off the phone. I'm not going to talk to this person until you get off the phone. The person is saying they have permission to have me there, and they just won't do it. And that's, I'm going to assume positive intent and assume that they're just trying to protect that person's privacy. They don't know who I am. I say I'm a social worker. They don't know that. So it can be kind of difficult, especially if the person is not, a good advocate for themselves or is not a reliable narrator, is not going to be honest about what their needs are, maybe doesn't really understand the extent of their needs. So it's, there's pros and cons. One thing that is going to be really important to listen to when the person from the Bar Association comes is to talk about a guardianship. So we have a volunteer guardianship program at COAAA. So it's for people generally that are in a nursing facility and either don't have any family or don't have any family that's willing to take on being a guardian. Because it's not an easy role a lot of times. You have to visit them in person quarterly. I've been a guardian before. I was a paid guardian up in Delaware County for about a year or so. And it was not the most enjoyable job I've ever had, I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of responsibility. You have to take a 6-hour guardianship class. You can do it online, but it takes a while. It's not, super entertaining. And then you have to meet them in person. There's all kinds of paperwork you have to file. I was working under a lawyer, so she filed all the paperwork that I had to file. But if you're not, then you have to be responsible for filing that all yourself. So if you have someone that doesn't have family nearby, that can't take on the financial responsibility of visiting in person quarterly, Volunteer Guardian Program is a great program. The volunteers there are wonderful. We have several volunteers on staff that are a part of this program, and they can also answer any guardianship questions. So if you're curious about guardianship, you can call. There's also a portal on our website, so if you go to COAAA.org, then on the top, there's a little box that says request information. You put your name, you put your phone number, you put your email, your preferred method of contact, a little bit about your problem, and somebody from my department will get that and we'll get back to you. So if you want a guide here that I didn't bring, or you want extra copies, put it all in there, and one of us will get back to you and we'll, mail that out to you, or arrange a time for you to pick it up, depending on how many you want. So one thing that a lot of people get confused is the differences between power of attorney and guardianship. And I absolutely think that's just an innocent mistake. People don't understand, well, I'm power of attorney for my dad, and he is a hoarder, and he needs to stop that, and I'm gonna make him stop it. If you're not a guardian, you can't. There's nothing you can do. You have power of attorney, which means if he's in a coma, you can make decisions for him. If he's incapable of, making decisions about his health care, if he has severe dementia, then you can advocate on your dad's behalf. You can make those decisions. If you are not guardian, you can't tell your parents, you can't make those decisions if they're capable of making those decisions with power of attorney. Guardianship is the way to do that, and it's extensive. So a judge has to, you have to get an expert eval done by a doctor, so someone has to sign off and say this person is not competent to make their own decisions, and then assign a guardian, and then that person under the law is basically considered a minor. So they're not able, the same way a 17-year-old can't make decisions about where they're gonna live or what they're gonna do, someone can't make decisions about their care. And now that is a last ditch for a lot of people. They don't want to take away someone's, sometimes it can be like a dignity issue. No one wants to say, well, I can't make decisions for myself. No one wants to have to admit that. So it is an extensive process, and it's not easy, and it's not done in haste, and it's not done carelessly. So, and if you have questions about that, our BGP program is a great resource for that, but the speaker that's coming can talk more about that as well. Yes?
Is the passport program a federal program or a state one?
So the funding is federal. So the funding comes from the federal government. It's distributed to the states, who then distribute it through the area agencies on aging. So yes, it is federal funding. Any other questions? Yes.
You have most of this information in those pass outs.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of that is going to be in here. Is there specific info you wanted?
We just want to have something to take on.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the one about the passport?
About the passport program. So this is going to have the information about passports. So who's it for, the basic services, and the eligibility requirements. There you go. And I'm going to leave all of this out here. I'm going to collect it after the next service. So if you want to peruse, if you want to look and see what's all there, I have left some of my cards. I didn't bring enough with me, unfortunately. But if you want to call, if you want to do the online portal to request more information about a specific topic, absolutely do that. There is no question that we haven't gotten. I mean, it's really, again, even if you have no idea, I don't know if there's a program that's going to help me, but what do I do about this problem? We can likely advise you on that. Yes, Richard?
It's not a question, just another little plug for SourcePoint. I volunteer at SourcePoint, and and I live in Southern Delaware County, so any of you that live in Delaware County would qualify to come to our facility. We offer all of these programs also. Most of them are in charge also.
Yes.
If nothing else, come up and take a look at it. Like you said, it's like going to the spa.
Yes, it is. I mean, you have you have
Delaware County takes care of their elderly.
so I'm sorry.
I say Delaware County takes care of their elderly. We
Yes.
do it in taxes.
Yes, because you have the money for it. There's a lot of counties that want to be just like SourcePoint and just don't have the funds, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have to support the levy, so we remind our clients all the time.
Yes, vote for the levy. If you don't need it now, you might someday. Yeah. They have foot care clinics up there too. Yes.
What is the name of the source that you work for? I mean, what is the?
The agency,
Yeah,
Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging,
okay.
and we, COAAA, COAAA, yeah, yep. And that's just what the Area Agency on Aging is called here. But they're, like I said, they're all over Ohio, there's like 12 of us, we're all over the entire nation. There's always gonna be an Area Agency on Aging serving somebody in America.
And this is Jennifer Teat, so if you just look up COAAA.org, I think it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and just get the phone number for it. You can actually just ask for Jennifer. That's what I did. And they just transferred me right to her. I knew that was the easiest way to get a hold of you.
Yeah. So I believe there are, for the longest time, I was the only Jennifer at COAAA. So I was like, how? I'm like 37. There's like 4 million Jennifers. Just my same age. Now there are like a couple of us, but if you just ask for Jennifer Teen or Jennifer T, just the initial, they'll definitely know it goes to me. Or just looking for information, they'll know that goes to me too. So.
What is the best place to get help with home repairs?
With home repairs, are you looking for an agency or looking for funding?
Probably both.
Okay. So this guide, so all of our guides too, if you want a hard copy, go ahead and email me, go ahead and go to the online portal on our website, but they're all also available as PDFs. So if you're an online person like I am, you don't mind having it on your phone or on your computer, it's all available on PDFs. So you're going to go to COAAA.org, resources, guides, and publication. And the Housing and Home Repair Guide, I believe, is the 4th one down. But there's a whole section in there about home repair, sources of funding, places that can do it. Again, a lot of that stuff is going to be income-based, so you might find a lot of times it feels it feels kind of punitive. If you're just above the income limit, that doesn't mean you can suddenly pay for, $20,000 of home repair. But you also can factor into, talk to them and see if you can factor in medical costs to some of these things. So sometimes if you have like extensive medical costs, it'll lower your income and then you'd be eligible for something. Any other questions? I know I just put a lot of information out. If you have any questions that you want one-on-one, come see me now, that's fine. Or like you said, just email me, call, and ask to speak to me. I'm happy to work with anybody.
All right, let's thank Jennifer, please.